Hey guys, I wanted to take just a quick couple of minutes today and talk about how I choose foods by reading their food label, because food labels can be super confusing. So I have a couple of items here that I just grabbed from my cabinet, and you might want to go grab something from your cabinet really fast. You can come back to this video, whatever, or if you have something sitting around real close. We're just going to talk about how I read a food label to decide whether or not I want to buy a product. So we're going to start with Reese's potato salad. Seems healthy, right? Seems like it would be a good option to buy. So the very first thing that I do when I'm looking at a food label is I look at how many ingredients are there. This has a billion ingredients. So if it has more than 5 or 6 things on the ingredient list, and some of those things I don't know what they are, I immediately put it back. If it says items that I can't pronounce or things that I know that I don't want to put in my body, I put it back. And also something, just a quick tip, items are put in their list, or they're listed by weight. So whatever weighs the most is in their first, whatever weighs the least is in their last. First ingredient, this is potatoes. The next ingredient is mayonnaise made with soybean oil. That already tells me that this is not something that I want to eat. Soybean oil, GMO, sprayed with glyphosate. You don't want to be eating very much soybeans, unless they're organic. All right, so mustard is the next ingredient, mustard seed, salt, sugar. It actually lists sugar as an ingredient. This is another thing that tells me I do not want to eat this. There are 60 different names for sugar. 60 different names for sugar. And I have a full list of those. Actually, I have an entire little booklet that tells you how to read a food label and all the stuff that I'm talking about. And I will put a link to that where you can get to it. And that explains everything I'm talking about. Here are a couple of names for sugar. I wrote them down. There's like so many, I can't even remember them all. Here's a couple of very common ones. Barley malt, agave nectar, cane juice, anything ending in ose, dextrose, fructose, anything like that. All of those mean sugar. So that's another thing that tells me I don't want to eat this. This also has natural flavor, which actually that is a pseudonym for a natural flavor that was made in a lab. That tells you if it says natural flavor, you don't want to eat it. Then it also, there was something else in here that I knew I did not want to eat. Calcium chloride, xanthan gum, sodium benzoate, and then some spices. So this is not something that I want to eat. Anyway, pretend it was. The next thing that I am going to look at is I'm going to look at what the serving size is. This container right here is 3 servings. So it is 16, it's 1 pound, 16 ounces. A third of a cup has 180 calories. A third of a cup has 180 calories. That tells me right there, not something I want to eat. That's too many calories for a third of a cup. But let's pretend that it wasn't that many calories. The next thing that I'm going to look at is what are the macros. So right there, it's going to tell you 180 calories. It's going to tell you the serving size. Then you're going to look at the macros. So you're going to look at how much total fat, how many carbs, and how much protein. That is the next thing that I look at. So if it's passed all the tests up to here, this has 3 grams of protein in a third of a cup, 25 grams of carbs in 1/3 of a cup of this. So doesn't fit my macros. It has too many carbs. 7 grams of fat, I wouldn't have a problem with that. So that's the next thing I look at. Does it fit in with my macros? The next thing that I look at is, does it have any trans fat? Trans fat, you don't. If it has 0, great. If it has any trans fat, put it back. You do not want trans fat, hydrogenated oils. We already, probably most of us know that we shouldn't be eating those. And then the next thing that I might look at is it'll have the vitamins and minerals that this food might contain that you would want to eat. This has 0% of my vitamin D, 0% of my calcium, 6% of my iron, and 8% of my potassium for a day. So looking at the food label for this, I can personally decide that it is probably not something that I want to eat. But it's not a horrible food. Keep in mind though, that even though this seems like a healthy option, it's a processed food. So, you really want to look at ingredient labels. Then I picked up this. I hope all of you guys know that this is not something you probably want to be eating. It's fake bacon bits. Ingredients in this, I do know what they are. Soy flour with canola oil, another GMO thing that is sprayed with glyphosate. So that's the first ingredient that automatically tells me I do not want any of this. So this is something that should be put back and probably thrown in the trash at my house. Next thing I picked up is salmon. This seems like super great, right? And actually, it really is. This is perfect for me, Atlantic salmon. The reason I did pick this up and I wanted to show it to you is because this salmon is colored. It has fake, what's the ingredients? Atlantic salmon, color added. So the salmon isn't really this color. They've made it look pink so that you wanted to eat it a little bit more. So, not very many ingredients. I can pronounce them all. It definitely fits with my macros. No carbs, lots of protein, good fat, nice healthy fat. So this is a good choice. This is something that I would eat. That is just a really quick overview of how, so in 10 seconds, you can look at this. How many calories in a serving? How much fat? How much protein? How much carbs? Can I pronounce the ingredients? And does it have some of the vitamins and minerals that I need in my diet? That is a quick once over that you can look at to tell you if you want to buy a food product or not. Again, I have an ebook that you can download that tells you all of this and explains exactly how to read a food label. So if you would like to know more about this, or if you'd like a copy of that, I'm going to put a link to it where you can just go enter your email. You can put that right on your phone and you can read it while you're in the grocery store. All right, I hope this has been helpful. Have a great day.